So now open your terminal and start the MSF console. The first command of this part is show. Now, when you work with a module, it helps you to display the variables and properties of that module. So the help screen is for showing us that. Type the show command and then the name of the object. So let's have a look at knob generators by typing show knobs. And as you see, the knob generators list appears. So there's no plug-in for this phase. And here are the encoders and also the exploits. But it might take a little while to list all the exploits if you try to list them. And then here are all the exploits in Metasploit. Now, when you need to use an exploit, you can search these exploits. For example, if you want to exploit a Java RMI server code execution, you can search for terms like RMI, RMI registry. So yeah, let's perform a search just like that. Search RMI registry. And you see it brings me the appropriate exploit. So I want to make an important point here. When you are conducting a pen test, you should perform an extensive enumeration on the target to choose the right exploit. That's how you know what to search for. Although Metasploit has many exploits, it doesn't mean that you can use every single one in every circumstance. First, you'll need to find the vulnerability, and then if Metasploit has a suitable exploit, you can use that. Otherwise, you may have a headache if you randomly run exploits, and it's a waste of time. Okay, so back to the RMI registry exploit. So now you have the name of the exploit. And if you recall from the previous videos, how do you use this exploit? Type use and then the name of the exploit. Now you can work with that exploit. If you want to be sure about the exploit or if you want to configure the details, you can use the info command to get detailed information about what the exploit's going to do. And in this case, this is an exploit, but for sure it can be any other Metasploit module. So read the description, examine the variables, or follow the reference link to get additional information about that particular exploit. Show the options to view the variables, and these are the basic variables. And yes, you can set some advanced variables to have more control over the exploit code. How do you do that? Show advanced. So here are the other variables of the exploit to make some of the advanced configurations. Some exploits only work with a specific operating system or software versions, whatever. Now, to send the target the right exploit code, you've got to know the version of what you're trying to exploit. Makes sense, right? I'll assume here that you have made enumeration and you know your target well. So that's what you tell Metasploit. Here you specify the available targets by the show targets command. As I hope you see on the screen, there's only 5 types of targets. So this means that this exploit can't be utilized on environments other than these particular 5. For the most part. In a production environment, your exploit may fail due to IPS, IDS, or firewall rules. So I think it's good practice to evade these security measures. For each exploit, there are different evasion techniques in Metasploit. So let's use the show evasion command to display the available techniques. And if you want, you can choose these. And these are the payloads that I listed by the show payloads command. Now, like evasion, for each exploit, there are different payloads. So this means you can't use a Linux payload for a Windows system. And for this exploit, there are these available payloads. Now I'll show you these variables again, and let's set them. You may remember from some of the previous videos how to set a variable, so we'll do that now. Use the set command, just like that. That's why I like the Linux console. Setting the value of variable means you can get the value of the same variable by simply typing get as the command and then the variable name. This is the Metasploitable 2 IP address in my lab environment. Now you can also unset a variable value by using the unset command. And I just unset our host value as you see here. So you may come across a situation that you need to use the same value in every exploit. So you can just set the variable to the same value in each exploit again. If you use setg command, you can globally set a variable value. And by using the getg command, you can get the global value of a variable. And then simply you can unset a global variable by using the unsetg command. Now, after setting all the variables, you can get the exploit to execute by either using the run or the exploit commands. It actually doesn't matter. So these messages here show what's going on in the background. And you will also be informed by Metasploit if a session is open. So now I have the session, and by typing the sessions command, I will list my available sessions. And as expected, I have only this one. Now to interact with that session, type sessions as your command with the I parameter, and then an index of the session appears. In my case, it's 3. Okay, so now I'm in the Meterpreter shell. Later, you're going to have your deep dive into Meterpreter, I promise. But for now, I'm going to only show you that I have exploited the Metasploitable 2. Then let's type in background to turn back to the MSF console again.